Good. Well, actually, it's morning right now, but you'll probably be watching this in the afternoon. Good afternoon, boys and girls. Today we're going to talk about solid figures, and we're going to be talking about two types, polyhedrons and non-polyhedrons. Polyhedrons, I'm just going to have you draw a little arrow here. I'm going to have you put flat sides. You're going to know most of these shapes. They're 3D shapes, and I know you guys have done that before. Polyhedrons are the 3D shapes that have these flat faces. Whereas non-polyhedrons have these rounded, I want to say faces, but that's not quite right. So there's two types of polyhedrons. They're split into two groups. You have your prisms, and you have your pyramids. And I'm sure you guys are pretty good at differentiating. Rectangular prism, this is going to be just a cube. Triangular prism. They have those flat bases that are a rectangle. Like here's the rectangle, here's the rectangle. The rectangles everywhere here. These four are rectangular. Pyramids come to that point at the top. Down here you have your non-polyhedrons. You have your cylinder, your cone, and your sphere. Pyramids are often named just from their base. This is a triangular pyramid. This is just a plain pyramid because it has that square bottom. And this has 6 sides, so it's a hexagonal pyramid. But you'll learn more about that later. So polyhedrons, going back to these 6 shapes, have some things that we know about. And you guys have heard these before. They have vertices, edges, faces, and bases. So vertices are points where the edges meet. They're going to be like kind of like the corners. So they want us to name the vertices of this particular square pyramid. So when I'm naming vertices, I'm looking for corners, and I'm just going to write them kind of like I would a point. So here's a vertice, so I'm going to label H. I'm going to put a comma. K is a vertice, comma. L is a vertice, comma. J is a vertice, and I is a vertice. They're all those corner pieces. We also have edges. Edges are kind of those lines on the edge that connect those vertices. It's where two faces meet. We're going to write that as if it were a line. So I have a vertice here with HK, the line over it. KJ is a vertice. KL is a vertice, and again, make sure you're putting those lines over it. So KI is, I'm sorry, I'm saying vertices, I meant edges. These four are all edges. So I have these 4 edges coming down from K, and then I also have to include these edges down here where the base is. So I'm going to put HL, LJ, JI, and then IH. Some people say there's more vertices than, or edges than vertices, but that's not necessarily the case. There are usually a couple more, but not so much more that would make a huge difference. All right, faces. Faces are those flat parts, and I had a 3D shape in front of me. I would be able to draw a physical smiley face on it. Here is a face. One of these triangles is a faces. One of these triangles is a faces. This back triangle is a face, and this back triangle is a face. So I'm going to have to label those. And to label those, I'm going to make a triangle sign, and I'm going to include all the points on that triangle. H, K, I. And you could write those letters in any order you want. I also have triangle KIJ, triangle KLJ, and I'm just starting with this K because it helps me keep track of what I've already done. And then triangle, KHL. And then my base, or my bottom part, is going to be a square, so I'm going to draw a square. And the points for that are I, J, L, H. And again, assuming you write your letters correctly instead of me, it does not matter what order you write them in. Now, When you're talking about solid figures, you're also going to see these types of things, and I'm sure you use these before. They're called nets. They're like a figure. If I unfolded the figure and laid them out on graph paper, you use these to identify solid figures. If I were to take this solid figure and where all the dashed lines are, if I were to fold them, I would have a solid shape in front of me. This solid shape, if I folded it this side up and this side up and this side up and this side over, I would end up with a cube. I want you guys to try to figure out what this is for a second by yourself. These rounded edges should tell you that it's not a polyhedron. So it's either going to be a cylinder, a cone, or a sphere. And hopefully you realize that's going to be a cylinder. All right. This is pretty easy. You're just classifying each figure. So you're going to have to tell me if it's a polyhedron or not a polyhedron. If it is a polyhedron, if you could tell me if it's a pyramid or a prism. So tell me both of those things. Number one, you're just doing vertices, edges, faces, and bases the same way we did right here. You don't have to worry about doing the back tonight. All right, guys, have a good evening.